Hello Professor, and welcome to our Python presentation for this semester. Just for standard practice, as always, we want to quickly run through our team 2, and kind of describe who did what. So I myself and Michael were involved in the writing the report and kind of going through all the details. Angel and Anj kind of came up with the data set and further looked into our company, and Alejandro and Natalia were the ones that wrote the code and kind of did the data analysis throughout this project. Now the company we've come up with is Nexus Tech, a fictional global tech company that operates in many, many countries all over the world. Now we from Nexus Tech, like many huge firms all over the world, have a big problem. We have a very diverse workforce, or we have a bit of an issue keeping track of it and seeing the overall advantage of that, right? Since we operate all over the world. So we do ask some key questions, which are how diverse is our workforce currently, and we also want to understand our workforce further. Then we also want to see what influences these kind of trends within diversity within our company. And lastly, can we predict any of these trends that we see through workshops or anything? So Natalia will now take you through the data set that we've come up with to really deep dive into the analysis. Natalia.
Thank you, Paul. Well, now for the data understanding, we have 3 basic steps. First, we did data description, where we noticed that there are 10,000 points and 45 columns, where we analyze also some demographic. We have some demographics and employee surveys DEI responses. Then onto the data sources, we have 2 sources. One is from Kaggle, synthetic data that we use, and then for the time series we use generated prompt to create a synthetic data to help us understand how the DEI sentiment grows within a year. Finally, we did an exploratory data analysis, where we did a couple of tables and graphs to understand how the data was behaving around everything. Here is an example of a pie chart where we can see the distribution of the different ethnicities. Then later we went onto the data preparation. We also have 3 steps. First is the cleaning and pre-processing, where it was a pretty straightforward because we, as I established before, it's a synthetic data, so we didn't have much to fix, but it was more to see also the data types and use functions like head and info for this. Onto the data transformation, we did some data parsing for some models that we were gonna deploy later. And in the feature engineering, we went a step forward with the hot encoding and the bin scalar for the different models. Later we will run around the model that we use, but we didn't need a normalization for this model. Now Ale is gonna explain the modeling part.
Thank you so much, Natalia. During this whole course and the previous course, the task was clear. Learn how to use Python in a way that we can solve the business problems, okay? So, the task and the main goal of this assignment was try to develop one model that could analyze the work diversity metric into a framework given. So, instead of just analyzing, we went a step further. We tried to analyze and to predict and to do time series analysis to know what is going to happen before we do it. So to solve this problem, we did 3 different things that we are going to explain now. We did a predictive modeling that we can predict what's going to be the answer of all of employees before they answer with a 97% of accuracy. We'll see later. We did also clustering in order to have an automatic model that can detect the different type of personas in our company. And we also did a time series because, okay, it's good to predict, but we also need to have a real-time control of what is happening. So, if we go a bit further on this, going to the first slide, we see the different type of models that we learn. We have deep learning, we have generalized linear model, random forest, and these are the relative errors. You know, for the accuracy is 1 less this. And who's the winner? Decision tree. We use this rapid manner AI that we don't need to code, and once we have the decision tree, we say, okay, now let's try to code with the decision tree and let's try to predict all the different variables. So, first of all, we focus on diversity, inclusion, and equity metrics, and as you can see there, we have almost 100% of accuracy. I know that the data is not real. I know that we could have a bit worse results, but the methodology, the process, the model is clear. This is the model we need to follow. After that, we say, okay, we can also put all these variables as targets, but let's try to forget it. We are not using it on the model we are using, so that we can predict all of these variables without using any of the others. So here we have all the results of all these scores. We did some kind of optimization of the parameters as well, and we see that plus 98% in all of them. So that means that we can predict what an employee is going to answer before he do the submission. If we continue into the analysis, we try to do one clustering. What's the clustering for? This is the opposite as the other. The other was supervised learning. We know what we are doing. We tell the task to the computer, and in this one, we say the computer, okay, give me more insights. Give me something that I didn't know before. So this is an automatic program that detects the different patterns between the data. We have two types of clustering. We have the cluster 0. Here we are comparing the age and the answers. As we can see, the more advanced in the age, the low answer, the low puntuation they give, and the people of our age, young people, they have really high puntuations. Maybe it could be because they are scared of giving bad puntuations, but these are the clustering personas. That is one person that represents the key metrics, okay? The age is larger and the diversity results are lower, maybe because they feel confident they are not going to be fired of the company. Totally the opposite in this one. Really a very low age and high diversity metrics. So if we go into the last analysis, that is the time series analysis that we learned the other day, it wouldn't be impossible to collect data for every single employee every single day. Imagine going to your company and try to answer every single day to a survey. So what we did, basically we collect maybe 5% of our employees every day, and we get the average every 10 days, so that we don't see that high fluctuation during the data. Here in the red line, in the green line, we see when we did a workshop and how the metrics increase, and in the red line, something really bad happened in our company and the metrics decrease. So for that, we said, okay, let's try to predict how this is going to continue, these metrics are going to continue. If we don't do anything, what we expect is anything. Actually, there is no growth. So we encourage the company to do something. We get the same pattern that is coming here, and we apply the same initiative, and we predict using time series all of the growth. So as we can see here, diversity is increasing, inclusion is increasing as well, equity is inclusion. If we don't do anything, if we do, and inclusion is also growing. So that will be the end of the analysis. And to go with the conclusion,
I will run us through that, don't worry. So thank you so much for listening. Just to kind of, again, run you through what we've established here. We've established that, yes, indeed, we are very diverse, and diverse in terms of even ages company. And we've come up with two personas that kind of very ideally describe the people operate within our company to really deeper understand what the issue is here, right? So we also see that through our initiatives that we can establish, our ratings overall and satisfaction will go up. We've learned that we have several ways of tracking this sentiment within companies, and we've also found a way to limit fluctuation within the data overall, so how to properly collect everything. We know now that throughout implementing these initiatives, we can overall score and also predict our future growth. And again, to say, we urge the company to now again start another initiative to kind of boost that overall sentiment. Lastly, when it comes to conclusion and limitations, The only limitation that we are facing is that this is a hypothetical scenario, and with that synthetic data, we would have loved to work with a more realistic one. However, since the scenario is made up, we could kind of adjust the data as we needed it. So thank you so much. We were team 2, and we can't wait for you to kind of judge us in class.